Dan, I got to tell you, I am so glad that I am inside right now and not outside. Days like today make me second guess my thought of leaving the comfortable confines of my cubicle and becoming a firewood business.
Wait. Are you saying so? You are a firewood business, or are you YouTube business?
Um, well, I guess I'm both, but on days like today, it makes me want to choose one over the other. It is frostbite city outside.
Oh, come on now! It can't be that cold down there. I have cold up here, but I don't think you have cold down there.
Yeah, well, I think, a lot about weather and the temperature. I think a lot of it is relative. Like, 30 degrees in October feels a whole lot different than 30 degrees in February, you know?
Yes.
But
Yep.
there is a magic line somewhere. I can't tell you exactly where it is, but today here in Northeast Ohio, we crossed it. It is It is no longer temperature as a state of mind. It is a physical reality. Whoo, boy.
I hear you. And I think the other thing too is I don't know if there's that big a difference from like 5 degrees or five below. It's both. They're both cold and
Yeah,
dang
that's.
cold.
I think that's something too about, when it gets so cold, it doesn't matter what the temperature is anymore.
Yeah.
And I think we're at it right now because, I mean, you can't even, we have some snow on the ground, but you can't even pack it into a snowball. It's just, everything's just frozen.
Frozen. But
Yeah.
that might be good because I think you guys were kind of waiting for the ground to freeze up down there for the loggers.
Yes, yes. I have learned from being a professional firewood delivery service that the worst temperature to operate in is like 35 degrees because it is cold outside, but it's not cold enough to freeze the ground, and so you're dealing with mud and squishy, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, 35 degrees to me is just the worst temperature for firewood. But that is something, that I have said this 100 times before. The biggest blind spot I had when I left corporate world to do this was the weather. And I feel dumb saying that because I'm from Ohio. I mean, what the heck? Ohio is an Indian word, which means bad weather.
Really? Oh,
I
interesting.
just made it up, but it could be true.
It could be. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, it's terrible outside. Good night.
You mentioned again the professional firewood delivery service. So
Yes.
again, are you a firewood business or are you in the firewood YouTube business?
Yeah. Well, I I am both. I believe that if I were to choose one or the other, I think I would be okay. Um, it's just the way that I've, decided to live my life. I enjoy firewood. I think I had said this before. If I ever won the lottery, when I used to work at the old place, we would sit around and say, "Guys, if you won the lottery, what would you do?" And I told everyone, "You guys would never see me again." you I would,
I'm
I'd be
God.
out.
I'm out of here.
I would be out that door so fast you'd never even see me again. You'd say, "Where in the heck's Joe at?" But now that I sell firewood, I would continue selling firewood. I absolutely would. I'd have a nicer truck, but I would still do it. I love doing firewood. I love that I am a firewood delivery service. I love that I'm a firewood producer. I just love it. When it's not 5 degrees outside. I mean, I love it, but I don't love it that much. But okay. But I'm a firewood company, but I'm also a YouTube channel, and they both kind of started at the same time. Um, my YouTube channel started filming my trials and tribulations of the firewood business, and it still continues on that same arc. But I think right now, Dan, I don't think I can separate them now. I think I am who I am.
They're joined. They're joined together at the hip.
Yeah, they are. But I
Right.
do believe, I can't film, I can't do a lot of things with video that I would want to, but because it's just me, I only got so much energy, and I got still got to run Ohio Woodburner, the firewood delivery service. But at the same time, if I wasn't doing that, I would have more time to film. If I didn't have to worry about filming stuff, I would be a lot more productive making firewood. Does that make sense?
Yes, it completely does.
Yeah,
And it flips when, as a hobbyist, it flips around because you can spend more time on the YouTube side of the business instead of the firewood business, which
yeah.
is interesting as well.
And it seems to me that my um, two businesses, YouTube and firewood, they kind of ebb and flow because there's times when the firewood business is booming and I'm thinking, you know what, this I could just do this and I'd be great. But then there's times when YouTube is booming and I'm thinking, you know what, if I just did this, I would be great. But then, YouTube kind of goes into the tank. We can explain we can explain that. We can go more into depth with that. And then sometimes, the firewood business, it kind of struggles to where I have had times where I thought, is my phone still working? Yeah, because I
No
haven't
one's
got a phone
calling.
call.
What?
Yeah, I haven't got a phone call in a while. Make sure. But there's like ebb and flow, boom and bust. I wouldn't say boom and bust. It's not that wild of a
No.
swing.
Well,
But like
sometimes,
you,
sometimes it
yeah.
can be.
Well, if I were to talk about YouTube, I don't know. I guess every channel's different, but I kind of think YouTube's in a down cycle. I'm talking about monetization. The money that you bring in with a YouTube channel. Do you feel that way?
Yes, we are entering that time of the year where everything falls off the cliff. It seems, and it's
Yeah.
just been everything's down, way down.
But I didn't even think, because the busy time for YouTube okay, so we're getting ahead here. So you make money on YouTube. There's a number of ways, but the way everyone mostly makes it is through the AdSense program where Google puts these ads on a YouTube video, right?
Yes,
And advertisers, there's an increase in advertising and what companies are spending to advertise their products uh, around the holidays. So a YouTube channel sees a larger cut of that money going into the holidays. I kind of feel like this year I didn't see it.
yeah, I don't know, and I think there's a relation to if businesses are thinking people are going to be spending money, that's when they want to advertise.
Yeah.
And then when if they don't get that feeling, yeah, I kind of had this year's quote unquote boom wasn't as booming as previous years.
Yeah, I didn't see a boom. I think that a firewood channel would see a double boom because we are a winter heavy enterprise. Going into the fall and winter,
Yes.
it's when you think advertising for chainsaws and log splitters and axes and gloves and all that stuff go up. But then also for Christmas, for the holidays, that there's also an increase because the retailers are big. They're trying to get every dollar that they can get. The manufacturers are trying to move their products. I know that my inbox was flooded with products from. I had some weird ones this year. Wallpaper. Um, I had one for Louis Vuitton purses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and all of these emails are like boilerplate kind of emails. We love your content, and we think you would be you know, a
Yep.
great partner for our product. And I was like, oh, well, what is it? And it's purses. I was like, oh, come on.
Well, maybe maybe
they
that's
had
the
me
case.
they had me mixed up with someone else's channel.
But that is one factor that, I mean, if we're kind of starting to kind of peel back the curtain here a little bit for those of you that maybe don't know this about YouTube, they will look at your channel and your analytics as far as like what your demographics are. So if your viewers are mostly male in their 60s, you're going to have different ads than a channel whose viewers are males in their 30s,
Yeah.
because they track all those different data sets and data points and everything gets tracked, and that's kind of how, depending on your niche in the industry, how much they want to advertise. I think that has been it's definitely changed this year.
Yeah. And I spoke with you, I spoke with a few other channels, and I think everyone has said that, the numbers are down this year. The frustration that I have is my views are up. My views were up a lot, but my the money that my channel generated was not commensurate with with the increase in views,
Yep. I had the same experience. Same thing.
Yeah. And I am not a numbers person. I do not get wrapped around the axle with this. And I know that there are a lot of people out there that, man, they go all out with the way they view their channel, the way they read data, down to where the the words that they use in their thumbnail, the colors that they use, the day of the week, the time of the day, all of these things. I mean, they are very scientific about it. And I am quite the opposite. I just do what I'm I film what I can get filmed and I put it on every Wednesday and Sunday. And I just I don't know. I'm not down in the dumps or demoralized to where I'm, considering giving this up, but I'm just saying I've noticed it that if you are looking to make a living out of YouTube, you can. There are a few channels out there. I mean, they are making just life changing money. But it is, it is, it's gone down, and it's almost to the point where I don't understand it gone down, because I think there's more ads on my videos than there's ever been before. But,
Right. And
the
you
money,
get the sense of, I mean, I would think that you are seeing growth in your channel. You're seeing more views, you're seeing more followers, you're seeing the growth, but you're not seeing the growth in the area of what you're taking to the bank. And I think that's where it gets to be, not maybe frustrating isn't the word, but just, I don't know, just kind of like a letdown. Because to your point, like, you can get into this and really go, that one day me and you were just talking and going through analytics, and all of a sudden time just flew by and we went down a rabbit hole that
yeah,
it was just, it doesn't make it fun. And that's the whole thing, is like, is it still fun when it gets to the
yeah.
point of this?
Well, for some people that is fun, but for me it is not. But it
No.
was interesting to compare my data with yours. And the big takeaway that I got from all of this was you had, and correct me if I'm wrong, you had the biggest month in your channel's existence in views in December. You had some huge videos, but it was not the biggest money month that you've ever had, which
No.
is awful.
Right.
Ironically, awful.
It's kind of, and then that's what makes you wonder and say, what is going on? Because you always, like, I want to look at the performance and the growth and try to obviously increase it and do better. But when you put more in and you get less out, then
Yeah.
you have to say, what is going on here?
For people out there that are interested in this, I can keep this at a very, very practical level. There is a multiple that YouTube uses for uh, paying a YouTube channel which generates views, because they want YouTube channels to generate a lot of views so that a lot of people see the ads, and that makes the real estate much more expensive. So a company will spend even more money to advertise on YouTube. So YouTube gives 55% of the revenue to the YouTube channel, and they keep 45%. Am I correct so far, Dan?
Yes.
Okay. So the multiple that YouTube will pay is called CPM. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know what it I don't know what it stands for, but everyone, a YouTube channel, when they're talking shop, they'll say, "So, what's your CPM?" And CPM, it means for every 1,000 views, you multiply 1,000 by your CPM, and that's how much money you made. So if you had 100,000 views, you multiply that by your CPM, and that's what your check's going to be. What I had seen and what Dan had seen is the CPM is, I mean, it's tanked, man. It's as low. It should be measured on the Kelvin scale. It's so low.
It has dropped significantly. And again, I don't know what, there's a lot of factors that go into determining that number, but it has gone down. And again, for those that are kind of following along from a high level, remember that is per 1,000 views. So if you were to try to look at, how much is each view, it's like hardly anything. So 1,000 views is then the rate used for, the CPM or RPM, whatever it is. For example, let's just use a simple, $5 RPM. So for every 1,000 views, you're getting $5. So if you have a large channel that has, thousands and thousands of views, they're making a decent amount of money. But for a smaller channel, let's say they get 1,000 views. So for one video, they were paid $5. Like, so there's your comparison. So when you look at some channels and you see people putting out content, every video they're putting out, if they're only getting a couple dollars, like that's where I get back to the whole, you're putting in this effort, you're trying to grow, you're seeing the views go up, you're seeing the followers go up, but your RPM's dropping and you're not making hardly anything. You're not getting anything back from what you're putting in.
Yeah. So this is my quandary here, being a firewood delivery service and a YouTube channel. There's always uncertainty and there's always these things out of your control. Like in firewood, I'm at the mercy of the phone ringing. But am I really? Because, you can advertise, you can get your name out there, you can do things that can get that phone to ring more than doing nothing. Go to YouTube. We are completely helpless when it comes to the multiple, right? We're calling, what is it? RPM, CPM?
RPM. Yeah.
Okay. RPM. We are completely helpless to that. We have no control over what our RPM is, right?
Correct.
Yeah. We are totally helpless. And, I'm not saying that there's some underhanded stuff going on there, but even if there was, we would have no way of knowing it. So when I look at YouTube as a career, those are the things that I look at from a risk management point is, they could just make all of that go away and just cut your income totally in half. And there's nothing you can do about it.
No, you are left at the mercy of what YouTube wants to charge advertisers and what advertisers want to pay.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're at the mercy of, that the numbers are accurate.
Yes.
And then it's also different between what your channel is. For instance, I understand if you're a channel that does music, your RPM is very low. If you're like a financial advisor kind of a channel, it's very high.
Yep.
And then everyone else is in between. I have heard some multiples as high as like $20.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's depending on your niche, it's a wide range. Like gaming channels, very low, like below even $1 sometimes. And finance, business, $15, $20 RPM. Whew.
Yeah. I hear, so there's like a lot of these young kids that have a YouTube channel where they're gamers and they have millions of views. And you think that that's going to equate into a lot of money. And I mean, it's probably a lot of money, but it's not as much as you think it is.
No, that definitely is not.
But if you were getting that many views as a banker tell-all kind of a channel or a financial advisor kind of a thing, you're making some serious money.
Very much so. And you are loving it.
Yeah. Wow. That's what I've always told people, because you make money with the YouTube channel. So I do not make life-changing money. I don't, but I also don't make chump change either. I mean, it's still worth it to me to do this. And then the irony is, when I first started with my YouTube channel, I had not a clue about monetization. And I still remember when I first made my first plateau, my daughter told me I can now monetize my channel. I had no idea what the heck she was talking about. I thought I had to start paying money to YouTube to put videos up. And I was like, wow, I get paid for it. I was totally had not a clue about that. And I got to a point though where it was on my radar screen. I started thinking, wow, I could really play some games here with all this data. But then I immediately said, you know what? I ain't going to do that. you know, and that's still, I put YouTube videos up because I enjoy it. They're fun. I've met a lot of neat people. I've met you, Dan, who I think is really cool. And but I'm I don't know. It's like now that you can make money with the YouTube channel, it is an important thing too. You do pay attention to it.
But that's where, again, back to this comparison of firewood business, YouTube business. What would you do in the firewood business if all of a sudden tomorrow you went to deliver your firewood to Firebirds and they said, well, today the RPM for your load of firewood, the cost that we're paying you for this firewood has dropped down to this amount. So here you go. Here,
Yeah.
and you have no control over it. Like
Right.
that's where it gets to be like, I don't think sometimes people realize that there's so many factors that, and it can change by the day, by the hour, it seems. So
Yeah. What I have noticed is when I have a video, well, you had even said the same thing. You had a video that got like 10,000 views. Then you had the very next video got like 300,000 views and you thought you were in the money. And you checked your multiple and you actually made more money with the smaller video than you did
yeah,
with the bigger one.
yep,
Because all of a sudden your RPM, your CPM just goes in the tank because your views went up. And that was another thing that always, because you always want to have this real big video. But what I had learned is when you have a big view like that, it's usually people that are enticed to click on it because of a thumbnail or a title. The algorithm pushed it in front of someone. So they're like, what the heck's this? So they click on it. And like 10 seconds later, they go, this is stupid. Then they click off. So you
yeah,
get credit for the view, but none of that view hit any of the ads.
right, or helped it push to more people. That's
Yeah.
the other thing, because the longer you can retain someone watching your video, it also helps YouTube then suggest that video to others. So that's, you know,
Uh
it
huh.
continues to it continues to roll down the hill, so to say. It's
Yeah.
that's
So I think you've this whole discussion here, and this is where you and me are now. We're out stacking wood. We're just shooting the breeze, right? It's helped me understand what I'm actually doing because I see the world. There's a lot of uncertainty out there. You're one step away from breaking an ankle, and then how are you going to deliver wood? And I think I'm using my firewood delivery service to complement my YouTube channel and the other way around. So where it's like I'm spreading risk, I'm still relevant as a YouTube channel. I'm still productive and profitable as a firewood delivery service. And I think that they're both complementing each other. So maybe
yes.
that's my business model. I
There you
can't
go.
separate. I can't do one or the other. How you like that?
No, they have to live in harmony with each other. They have to be they're together, as one. And that's I think the beauty of something like a niche like firewood is that you can go out and do what you need to do and what you want to do, and then find a way to also turn that into content. You're not having to like for me anyway, I never have to like sit down and try to plan out my videos. Like I don't have to think about, it's like what I'm doing that day. That's going to be
Right.
my video.
Yeah. Well, that's the way I am.
Right.
You know, like I do get comments sometimes. They're like, "Well, this is getting kind of redundant, Joe," and I'm thinking, "Well, welcome to my life." Because
Yeah.
running a business means you're doing probably a lot of the exact same stuff over and over. It's all about execution.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
every day there could be something different, or it could be the same thing as yesterday.
Yeah.
It's the way it is.
Yeah, so I tell you what, Dan, I do not have an identity crisis. My existence, YouTube and firewood, to me, they're opposite sides of the same coin, man. I'll take it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I might even do a video about this the next chance.
Oh,
Once we go up about 20 degrees, I'll go out inside and do a video on this.
there you go. See, and
Uh-huh.
I have the other side of the coin. Can there be three sides to the coin? No. But I have the other side where I burn a lot of wood myself. So I throw that into my equation for content.
Right.
And, I'm providing for myself heat. I'm hobbyist lifestyle. Little jingle there. Gotta give the let me do that. Hobbyist lifestyle. You see, I got to pause for the jingle. And then I also have the YouTube side of things. So it's yeah, all together, like I said, living in harmony.
Yes, I like that. I like that a lot. All right. Well, Dan, I don't know what we accomplished today, but I kind of feel better. And I think there are a lot of people out there that have YouTube channels to where they want to grow, they want to get bigger, they want to make more money with it. And that's all the excitement about all this. But I think there's a lot of people out there too that are kind of interested, want to know what goes on with these channels. And but the underlying thing, at least here in the firewood niche, is I don't see it as competition, and I enjoy watching other channels do good. I get excited for someone when they have a video that has taken off, because I think it's good for all of us.
Yes, yes, indeed. And I agree. I think that for those people who maybe listen or watch YouTube who aren't, they don't have a channel, they don't create content. I think some of the stuff, some of these topics are interesting just to kind of peel back that, you know, pull back the curtain and reveal the man behind it. Kind of like in wrestling when we used to, when Secrets Exposed started coming out about
Uh,
how the wrestling world worked. Like everyone was interested in that.
I
And I
thought you
think,
were talking about the Wizard of Oz.
well, the
Pay
same thing. Yeah. The Wizard of
pay no
Oz.
pay
Pay
no
no
attention
attention.
to that man behind the curtain.
How things work behind the scenes. It is
Yeah.
interesting, but it can be frustrating.
Yeah, the thing though with YouTube is, to me, the biggest thing of my concern is the uncertainty and the lack of control over that multiple. It can
Yep.
they can just roll dice one day and say this is what it is today, and we would have no way of knowing.
And like I said, imagine if that was how the actual firewood industry worked, where you went, oh, tomorrow morning you go to your wood yard and there's a sign that says today's cost of a cord is this.
Yeah.
You can only sell your firewood for this amount today.
Yeah. I had this is how, when I talked about going down that rabbit hole, and I finally said enough of this. I'm not going to just even pay attention to this. I'm just going to keep doing what I am doing. I remember this was about a year and a half ago. I saw that the multiple was very low, and I was thinking, you know what? Why the heck should I put out a video? I'll just sit on this for another week until it goes up. You know, that actually crossed my mind. And it makes me wonder. I bet you a lot of channels out there do that when they've quit posting for a while. It's because the multiple is so low that they're just not doing it anymore. But that's when I also said, you know what? The heck with that. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And, I've still put out 2 a week. I've done that since the very beginning, and I'm just going to keep it up.
Right. Because you don't want to only focus on that one variable, the RPM, because then you might miss out on gaining 10 new subscribers who now come back and watch your next video with the higher RPM. So you actually, you like I said, you get into this rabbit hole and you start playing these games, and it's just, there's a lot to take in. But yeah, just stick
Yeah.
with what you want, do what you've been doing. And most importantly, the same with this podcast, Joe. Keep having fun.
All right. Well, Dan, I thought this was a fun discussion, and it's kept me out of the Arctic weather outside, and it'll give me a chance to warm up a little bit more here before I do the PM portion of my day.
Oh, yes. Well, I agree. I enjoyed it. And let us know what you think. Send us an email at thewoodhounds@gmail.com. And thanks for tuning in once again to the number one firewood podcast in the world.
And you can catch us on all the major streaming services like Pandora, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and our website, thewoodhounds.com.
There you go. All right, everyone. Joe, you get back to work and stay warm.
I will try.
Yeah, I'm going to probably be staying inside because I'm going to be, I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but not going out. All right. I'm going to go look at my RPM.
Yeah, okay. Better take your antidepressant pills with you when you go. All right, well, Dan, how about you stay
warm
and don't go
outside
and have
a great day.